Kickoff comes from John Bohanski. He squirts it down the middle. It's played on a couple of hops. This is Riley Brown. He returned one last week. A big touchdown return this time. He's out over the 30 to about the 31-yard line. That is where the Raiders will take possession.
Well, Hudson didn't have exactly a juggernaut offensive game by any stretch of the imagination, but they did what they needed to do. They had a big-time kickoff return that certainly helped, but for them to have more yards through the air than through the ground was very unlike them, but it worked. And so I look for the Raiders, to air it out a little bit as they try to get that running game established.
They start with Kaiser Helterbrand working out of the shotgun. A handoff coming around the sweep. This is Brown, turns it upfield to the 35, squirts down the sideline and dives out across the 40, lands at about the 44-yard line. That's a gain of 13. That's a Hudson first down.
Well, Riley Brown had a nice game against Kenosha Indian Trail, and he's kind of the new back. We talked last week. Cole Danielson decided not to play football this year. Aaron Squires will be joining the team in week 3. So Brown got some nice looks, and I look for him to get quite a few this game as well.
Helterbrand again at quarterback. David Miller takes the handoff, and he's got a nice hole up the middle. He's across the 45 and out across the 47. Give him 3, maybe 4 on the carry. Credit Miller with 4, 2nd and 6 from just outside the 47, and it will remain Helterbrand at quarterback, Miller at his side. Wingbacks far side is Max Stubendick, near side Brown. Brown goes in motion, straight keep. Helterbrand picks his way across the middle of the line and falls ahead to about the 48. Give him a yard, going to be 3rd and medium here for Hudson.
Well, the key to winning is always how you are able to convert the 3rd downs. So we'll have to see how Hudson does here.
Again, it's Stubendick and Brown, the wingbacks. Charlie Pierce wide to the far side, looking to throw and lofting it out there. Pierce off of his fingertips and then nearly intercepted. I believe that was Lee Goman defensively there for Stevens Point. Incomplete pass brings up 4th and 5.
We're still trying to work on our audio here as we're early on in the season and taking on a live TV as well.
So the Raiders line up in punt formation. Ben Carls drops back to kick it away. And prior to his kick, we get a whistle and an illegal procedure call, so Hudson will back up 5 yards. And we'll try it all over again. Dwayne Hoyard is back to receive the punt for Stevens Point. The kick away, nice spiraling kick. Horde chases it, called for the fair catch, but couldn't get to it. It takes a Hudson bounce. It'll roll just inside the 20-yard line. That's a 36-yard punt with no return. 1st and 10 Panthers from their 20-yard line.
Well, the Hudson Raiders on their first offensive possession come up empty, and there's a first time for everything when you have a brand new field. First kickoff, first offense. So they're kind of learning as they go here. And now we get to see the defense, which played a fine game last week against Kenosha Indian Trail.
Brady Woyak will lead the Panther offense. He did not play last week for the Panthers. He turns, hands it off, picking his way off the right side, big hole. This is Colton Kazuski, and Kazuski runs into his own bench, but not until he's picked up a Panther first down. They'll mark it at the 36-yard line for a gain of 16.
Well, we talked about how Hudson is trying to avenge their loss against Stevens Point in the playoffs last year. Stevens Point is coming off a very tough loss to open their season against the Neenah team, and this Panther team was expected to do some pretty good things this year, so they're looking to get on the W board.
Handoff trying the left side. It's Kazuski again a big hole to run through. He's across the 40 finally. Slowed and dropped at the 44. That's a gain of 8 and a couple of nice runs here from the Panthers. Almost more offense than they put up in 4 quarters last week here in 2 plays.
Well, Joe, you and I talked about that prior to the game, how offensively they just couldn't get anything going against the Neenah team. We don't know exactly how good the Neenah team was. It's early in the season. Hudson's ranked number 9 in the state in the coaches poll, but it's still a lot of unknowns at this point.
2nd and 2, they fake the handoff. Hoyer rolls right, now throws and overshoots his target. Running across the middle of the field was the big tight end, Andrew Erdman, 6'4", 206, the senior, and he was overshot, so that ball well high of the mark. Brings up 3rd and 2 here for Stevens Point.
Of course, the Panthers, one of the bigger schools in the state, hailing from the Valley Football Conference. A very good program through the years. They've had a tremendous run basketball, multiple state championships.
Handoff to Kazuski, and he is stopped. Hit behind the line as he fell forward for no gain. Knifing in and coming up off the bottom of the pile. Guess who, John? Cole Goodbow.
Cole Goodbow is a name you're going to hear a lot this year, and as well you should. He's got the size, athleticism, and the speed, and if he can perfect his craft, you know, the spin move and the positioning, and they're going to move him all over the line. Coach, defensive coordinator Neil Hatfield told me, and he's poised to have it.
Bohanski set to punt it away. Pair of return men deep. And actually, this is Seth Tosseth on the punt. Short kick, running up. Brown lets it hit. Hudson's got to get away from that rolling ball, and it does take a Panther roll inside the 25, and actually they'll mark it dead at the Hudson 25. So both teams an impressive first down run to start their drives and end 3 and out.
Well, I think we have the audio situation rectified. I'm looking at Ted Laurel, cameraman extraordinaire with the River Channel, and this is a partnership production of the MSBN Sports Network and River Channel here in Hudson. This is something new for us, to bring live TV here in Hudson, as well as our live webcast across the country, and still kind of a little bit of a work in progress as we try some new things, but I think we have it down now.
Max Stubendick in a quarterback for the Raiders. He'll work from under center. David Miller behind him in motion. Brown. Handoff went to Miller, and Miller plows ahead. And he's out to about the 28, maybe 29-yard line, and a gain of 3 on the play.
First email coming in. Want to say hello to Sydney Driggs. She's watching from Seal Beach, California. Play hard out there, number 16, Aaron Lofgren. We love you. Go Raiders. That one coming in from Sydney Driggs in California.
To throw over the middle, nearly intercepted. Diving catch is made. And Carl's coming back. It was Carl's with a beautiful diving catch after that ball nearly intercepted by Lee Goman. And now they will say incomplete. So 3rd and 7 coming for Hudson.
Well, I thought he actually had that. It was tipped. At first we thought maybe it was going to be an interception, but as it turned out, I thought he had to catch, but they waved it off. So now we got 3rd and long.
Helterbrand back in at quarterback. He's going to roll out immediately. Helterbrand with room. Now throws, falling and making the catch for the first down is Max Stubendick. That's a gain of 12. First down, Raiders.
Well, and there's what we were talking about, and we saw that in Kenosha Indian Trail. The Stubendick-Helterbrand connection. Both of them are going to be at quarterback, and both of them are going to be at other spots, whether it be tight end, split end, whatever it may be, and it works.
Splitting into the slot this time is Stubendick. Straight keep. Helterbrand has got nowhere to go. Bounces it out to the left. Now he's got some room to the 45 and turns the head down and falls ahead to the 49-yard line. A gain of 8.
Well, that's that power football that the Hudson Raiders, you know, are known for. A big offensive line, and also, Joe, that hurry-up offense. You know, quick to the ball, no huddle, hurry up, almost like a 2-minute drill.
Helterbrand under center, coming to motion was Brown, the handoff, and the ball comes out. And it is Stevens Point ball.
Tough break there.
So the Raiders, who won the turnover battle last week at Indian Trail, turn it over here with 7:31 left to play in the opening quarter. We are scoreless, Hudson and Stevens Point, but great starting field position here for the Panthers on their second possession.
Well, we're still trying to work on the audio here with our new setup, and keep the feedback coming in for the emails as we continue to work on this, and this home opener for the Raiders.
turning the wrong way was the quarterback, or perhaps it was the running back. Either way, that play just was doomed from the start. Kozuski is buried back at his 46, a loss of 5 on the play. Never a good thing when the quarterback and the running back go the wrong way or go in opposite directions. One of them went the wrong way, one of them was right. Either way, it's 2nd and 15 now for the Panthers. Both Kozuski and the quarterback, Woyak, did not play last week, so both getting their first game action. Both are seniors. And now we get a flag. And illegal procedure, the call on Stevens Point, going to back them up another 5 yards. So each team now with a penalty in this one. 2nd and 20 coming for Stevens Point.
Well, still early in the season, and it's definitely a matter of timing and just repetition with additional practice and additional game time. A lot of those penalties that we're going to see in this game and that we saw last week will continue to diminish.
Michael Vang splits out wide to the right. It's Mason King wide to the near side. He goes in motion. They both do as they come toward the middle. They fake the handoff. Flag comes out. The pass across. And it goes right through the hands that time of Owen Zakarzuski. And I know I butchered that name. I'll butcher it all night long, folks. Sorry.
Well, we do the best we can. We get the pronunciations prior to the game. And some names are more challenging than others to get correctly, but that's always our ultimate goal, to be able to do that.
Well, the penalty is on point. Incomplete would make it 3rd and 20, but playing the field position game, the Raiders are going to take another 5-yard mark off. It's 2nd and 25. Did not see the indication on that one, John.
Well, it's second and long here, so you brace for something, maybe some kind of a trick as the Panthers seem to be going backwards. We'll have to see here if they're going to play it close to the vest or kind of do something out of the bag of tricks.
They pitch it out. Kozuski tries to get to the corner. Ran through the first man, bounces off the second, and then is swarmed under out at the 41-yard line. So a gain of 5. He got the penalty back, but, you know, either way, we end up at 3rd and 20, so running some time off the clock. 6:25 and counting to play in the opening quarter, no score. Defensive substitution as Hudson brings in another secondary player. Hustling onto the field that time was Gus Bros. Nick Becker hustling off. Woyak throws deep down the field and overshoots Mason King by a good 5 yards. 4th and 20, and the punt unit going to come on for the Panthers.
Well, just as the Hudson Raiders and their first offensive possession of the game, Panthers unable to capitalize and really do anything with it. So it's kind of been a defensive battle, if you will, early on here. 5:51 to go, and game number 1 in the brand new stadium here in Hudson. The weather's holding off so far, Joe.
Tosseth set to kick it away for the second time here in the quarter, where Riley Brown awaits on the far side, Ben Carl's near side. Again, a short knuckleball of a kick coming up, falling down, but able to corral that one was Riley Brown at the 33-yard line. 26-yard punt, no return.
And Riley Brown had that big kickoff return against Kenosha Indian Trail, and that was really probably, in my opinion, the play of the game. That was the spark plug, the catalyst that propelled Hudson to victory there. And also, too, Hudson did a very good job in game 1 of limiting the penalties and limiting the mistakes. No small matter, particularly for game 1 here. And both of these teams early on have had a couple of mistakes, and the team that has the least amount of mistakes, usually when it's all said and done, is going to come out victorious.
Stubendijk under center. Tried to run the option, and boy, he turned up, and standing right there to wrap him up was Parker DeRue. Big loss on the play. Call it a loss of a 4. Sets up 2nd and 14 for the Raiders.
Of course, the video scoreboard, you see something very new, very different here at the new field.
Hilterbrand in at center. Straight keep for him, bounces it out to the right, and an ankle tackle takes him down across the 30 to the 33. Kind of hanging on for dear life was Jack Kelly that time for the Panthers.
Well, both Hudson particularly playing it pretty close to the vest here, shuffling players in and out, trying to really establish that running game. I know that the pass did work last week, but Hudson primarily is still a run-first, pass-second offense.
Hilterbrand, the quarterback, on 3rd and 9. Brown went in motion. We get a flag at the snap. Illegal procedure on the Raiders will make it 3rd and 14. And the video scoreboard, John, gives us some cartoon characters when there's a penalty. I kind of like it.
Well, it's all about creating a very entertaining atmosphere. And, Joe, I'm looking out here, and this capacity in this stadium is 3,100, and we probably have all of that right here.
Quarterback draw, Hilterbrand. Avoided the first and then is kind of cartwheeled down at about the 35, 36-yard line. He picks up 7, but is still about 7 short of the first down, and the punt unit comes on for Hudson.
Well, both teams just punting back and forth, going into the MSBN email bag. Roxanne Ross emails in, says, good luck, Hudson Raiders, and my hero, number 25, Andrew Ross, love bomb. Sorry I can't be there, but thank you, MSBN. Says, getting great reception here from Miami, Florida. Best seat in the house, next to being there in that new stadium. Thank you.
Carl's kick nearly is blocked, but he got off a great kick, and it was fielded, and going down nearly immediately is Dane Horde.
On the tackle for the Raiders. No gain on that return.
44-yard punt. No return. 1st and 10. Panthers from their 20. We've got 3:53 left to play in the opening quarter. It remains scoreless.
Just got a score update in Big River's non-conference action. Menominee 7-0 over Holman, and Medford 7-0 over Chippewa Falls.
They fake the handoff, trying to roll. And it's caught back at the 7-yard line.
Well, Cole Goodbow, we talked about him. He is the real deal. He is big, and he is fast, and he is athletic, and teams are going to have a hard time containing him. And if he busts loose that offensive line, he's got a good spin move. He just wreaks havoc in the opponent's backfield.
A loss of a 12 on the play, back to the 8, 2nd and 22. And tell you what, John, after Point got that fumble recovery, they have gone backwards on nearly every play since. Now, high snap, it's back into the end zone. Picked up, Krzyzewski going to try to get out of the end zone. Is able to avoid the man out across the 10 and finally taken down at the 15-yard line. Boy, oh boy, tackled finally by Jake Sasembo. When life throws you lemons, John, make lemonade.
Well, they were within a fingernail, if you will, of turning a safety there, and he was running for his life, and he was able to squeeze out of there and even actually get a little bit of yardage on it. But the Panthers dodged a big-time bullet there.
3rd and 15, ball just across the 15-yard line. Straight drop. This is a error. Dumps it over the middle. And running free with it, a first down and more across the 35 out to the 37-yard line. A 21-yard pickup. Owen Zakarzuski on the reception. Marked at the 38-yard line, a pickup of 22.
Well, that's a big break that time for the Panthers. Backed up deep in their own territory and had the bad snap and was able to get out of it. And Hudson defensively, they're looking good so far, but got to credit the Panthers for getting out of that hole.
Brett pops it up and then able to scramble on top of another high snap that came back. So another loss on the play, this time back to the 32, a loss of 6. Cole Goodbow, the first Raider to get there. Credit him with the tackle.
Still waiting for these lights to come on for the first time, and I've been able to see them at night. They're very good, state-of-the-art, top-notch LED lights. Will light this field up as the sun continues to go down.
Now in a quarterback and keeping is Sam Simmons. And Simmons gets the yardage back. Give him 7 on the play. It'll be 3rd and 9, Stevens Point.
Gain of about 6. That'll be 3rd down and 9. 3rd and 9 for the Panthers.
So already with just over a minute left to play here in the opening quarter, Stevens Point with their 3rd quarterback taking snaps in this one. And I don't know that that's necessarily by design for Stevens Point, like it is for Hudson, as we get a timeout taken by Stevens Point. It comes with 57.1 seconds remaining in the opening quarter. It's Stevens Point nothing, Hudson nothing, a rather defensive battle here through the opening 11 plus minutes.
Well, again, we're only in week 2, and so both of these teams are kind of feeling their way and what sets work, what personnel gelling with each other and trying to develop a rhythm offensively, trying to find your way with your defensive sets. So both teams kind of misfiring here in the first quarter, but it's just 4 quarters of football. We got 57 seconds left in the first quarter, and got some emails coming in. We'll get to those particularly en masse at halftime, and I want to get your feedback on the broadcast. We're still kind of tinkering with the audio here with a new setup with live TV and our partnership with the River Channel, in addition to the live audio through our live audio and video through MSBN. Joe, this is season number 7. You and I are doing Hudson Raider football, and you're number 13 of MSBN doing high school sports webcasting. Started this way back in the fall of 2005. Seems a very long time ago now, but it's been good.
It's always been an adventure.
It is. It's definitely been an adventure, yes.
And it's nice to have the new partnership here this year with the local cable station. Makes it a little bit easier for the local fans to see what's going on here with Raider football. Here on 3rd and 9, it's Simmons. Simmons with the power eye blocking in front of him, turns the corner, cuts back. He's got a 1st down as he's bounced back off of the 50-yard line. Simmons picks up 10 and picks up a Panthers 1st down. So Sam Simmons, who sat and watched the first couple of a series, comes in and provides a little spark to the Stevens Point offense here late in the first quarter as they have it 1st and 10 from their 49-yard line. A couple straight carries from Simmons. 17 yards rushing on those 2 totes as the Panthers back in business near midfield. Single wide receiver King spread out to the right again. Kind of a power eye around the quarterback. This time the handoff trying to come back near side. Zigging and zagging, finally finding some space right up the middle of the field is Dane Hoyard. And Hoyard is to the Hudson 42-yard line on a gain of 9.
Still continuing to work on the audio situation here. Kind of a new setup than we have used in years past, and trying to just a couple different things to get you the best audio. And I think we have working on a solution here. If you want to give us feedback through the email here, as we're kind of flying on the go. But we're back, and we've got the end of the first quarter.
So through 1 here at Raider Stadium, it is the Raiders nothing, and the Stevens Point area school Panthers nothing. But Panthers are on the move. They'll have it 2nd and 1 from the Hudson 42-yard line when we pick up play in the second quarter, and a rather speedy first quarter here in Hudson. And John, what's it been like this week? I got to the field early as we always tend to do, and even a couple hours before this game, there was just a buzz around here tonight. Has it been that way for a while?
It really has. This project started way back in March, clearing land, and this was the practice field, and people thought this was possibly going to go east and west. And if you can picture the Hudson High School, Vine Street runs east and west, and the field runs north and south. Okay, and the stands are on one side, only on one side, a capacity of 3,100, decorative brick all the way around, a nice track that they just painted blue, artificial turf, so which means you don't have to water it, you don't have to fertilize it, you don't have to mow it. I should get some for my yard. That'd be nice. NFL-style goal posts, very nice, and of course this wonderful scoreboard, a great facility.
2nd and 1 as we begin the second quarter. And again, it's Simmons on the keep. Again, he's got a first down as he breaks into the secondary. Simmons tripped up and falls ahead to the 24-yard line. That is a gain of 18, another Panther first down.
Well, the Panthers got something brewing here, looking to draw blood first after a scoreless first quarter. And the Hudson Raider defense with their back to the wall.
So 1st and 10 Panthers now. The ball at the Raider 24-yard line. And Simmons has really provided a spark here for the Stevens Point offense. 2 receivers, 1 to each side. Simmons will work out of the shotgun. Turns, hands it off right up the middle. Hoyard, and he gets bottled up and thrown back. And Cody Sika makes the stop, but not until a gain of 4. So 2nd and 6 now. The ball at the 21-yard line of the Raiders.
And I do believe, correct me if I'm wrong, I believe we have our audio situation rectified. That's always good to have.
Definitely is. Definitely is. Keeping as Simmons tries the right side. He gets to the corner, turns it ahead, and is spun out of bounds that time by Alec Colander.
Tackled by number 8, Alec Colander on the tackle for the Raiders.
They'll spot the ball just outside the 16. So a gain of 4 again for Simmons. 3rd down, a long 2 here for the Panthers. 10.5 left to play in the 2nd quarter. And this is where you would like the defense to tighten up, close it down.
Well, your opponent is driven inside the red zone in a scoreless game here in the 2nd quarter, and this is where you put up the stone wall and draw the line.
Handoff Kazuski to the left, 15. He's got a first down, spins to the 10 before he's taken down. And it'll be 1st and goal, Panthers, as they'll spot it just inside the 10-yard line.
Ball's inside the 10-yard line of the Raiders. 1st and 10 for the Panthers.
So Kazuski, a gain of 6 on the play. He's carried 7 times now in this one for 37 yards. And also back in at quarterback on that last play was Brett Ayer. He remains in at quarterback. Options to both sides. He keeps it, rolls near side. Ayer looking to throw. And just kind of throws it at the feet of Kazuski, incomplete. It'll be 2nd and goal from just inside the 10.
Well, if the Raiders could get out of this, even with the field goal attempt, that would be a victory here. As both of these teams offensively sputtered during the 1st quarter, but the Panthers got something going now, driving into the red zone. And you know, here's the opportunity for the defense to rise up and shine. And if best case scenario, if they could force a turnover here or force them to a field goal attempt and be able to block the field goal or something like that, would be even better. Big play coming up.
Simmons takes over at quarterback once again. And we're going to get a timeout on the field. It is the 2nd taken by Stevens Point. This one comes with 9:35 left to play in the 2nd quarter. A scoreless battle. The opening game of what we hope is a very long run here at Raider Stadium.
It is, and Roxanne Ross emails in, and Roxanne reports, yes, the audio is much better and the scratchiness is gone. Thanks, gentlemen. Apparently the culprit was a bad cord coming from the board into the camera. So we have got a new cord, and if somebody would take that cord, I will personally throw it in the garbage myself, and I don't ever want to see that again, and it'll be great.
Glad you said that. You were kind of looking at my neck when you started talking about the cord. I was getting a little concerned there, John.
Okay, no, but yeah, it's always frustrating, you know, and early in the season, it's not only just the teams and the coaches and the players that are learning as we go, as we get back into this. And season number 7, like I said here, of Raider football and MSBN. Glad to be back with you, Joe Moore and myself. And Joe, you weren't able to make the trip down to Kenosha last week. Don Wadowitz subbed in, did a great job, but always great to be back with my main guy here in Hudson.
2nd and goal from the 10. Simmons fakes a handoff, and that play was blown up. Goodbow finished it off. The first one in was Gus Brose.
Goodbow on the tackle, assisted by Bon Carls. Bon Carls as well on the tackle.
That's a loss back to the 15, a loss of 5. It's 3rd and goal now from the 15.
Okay, well this is the Hudson's golden opportunity. You have to wonder what Stephen Point's going to do. You're going to play it close to the vest, play conservative, bang between the tackles, and try to go for the field goal attempt, or do you razzle dazzle? Big play coming up here.
Air at quarterback. Fakes the handoff, rolls, has to get rid of it quickly. It's complete and taken down immediately. Perhaps a short loss on the play. It's Bon Carls there defensively after Zakrzewski made the reception. It is a loss of 1, 4th and goal from the 16.
Well, the defense rose to the occasion there as the Panthers drove inside the red zone. Now 4th and 16. And are they going to go for it?
I believe they are.
They are.
Wow.
Mason King splits wide to the left. He's got single coverage that way. Air throws that way, throws it toward the corner. It's up for grabs and knocked away. Oh, it looked like it was in King's hand momentarily before it was knocked away by Dimitri Roth.
Gutsy call and an interesting call by Stevens Point as they rolled the dice on 4th and long inside the 20-yard line, electing not to go for what would have been a chip shot field goal. In high school, Joe, you always have to wonder. Some teams, and even the big schools like these two here, have a good kicker that you really can depend on, and others just don't. And judging by that play call in that situation, we have to conclude that maybe Stevens Point's kicking game doesn't have the confidence, at least yet at this juncture of the season, that they'd like, and that's why they went for it in 4th and long.
It was actually Asembo, just 1-2, not 2 twos on that jersey. Asembo knocked it away, saved the touchdown. So taking over on downs, the Raiders, 1st and 10 from their 16. Handoff goes to Miller. He gets it out to the 20, a gain of 4.
And Miller also had some decent runs against Kenosha last week, and as Aaron Squires, the workhorse, will be back next week.
This is Miller again off the left side, and Miller reaches ahead out to the 23. Give him 3 on the carry. Be 3rd and a long 3 here for Hudson as we tick down to 7.5 minutes left to play in the second quarter, first half.
Grandpa and Grandma emailing in. They say, go Kaiser, go Raiders, and it got being Kaiser Helterbrand for the Hudson Raiders. Thank you for tuning in, Grandpa and Grandma.
Helterbrand under center. Brown in motion. He'll reset as the wingback left. Carl's wide receiver right. Right up the middle, Miller, no room to run at all. He was met by a host of white jerseys.
Not much room there. That brings up 4th down for the Raiders.
Jack Kelly was there. I believe the first one to get to him was Desmond Schomer.
Of course, the Raiders unable to really do anything with it. Again, you got to give credit to the Stevens Point Panther defense. And now the Raiders got to punt it pretty deep in their own territory after that big-time stop as the Panthers drove into the red zone.
Ben Carls to punt it away for the 3rd time tonight. Nearly again blocked. Getting in there was Colton Kazuski. And that is a fair cut by Hoyard at the Panthers' 48-yard line. 32-yard kick, no return. 1st and 10 Panthers in good field position. 6:27 left to play here in the second quarter.
Score updates coming in from other Big Rivers Conference teams as conference play starts next week. Menominee 14-0 over Holman. Holman from the Mississippi Valley Conference, and Chi-Hi, after falling down to Medford 7-0 early, have struck back twice and have pulled ahead 14-7. The Medford Red Raiders taking on the Cardinals of Chippewa Falls.
In a game that's making me see in red, John.
It is.
Air the pitch back. Boy, and Hoyard gets hit. Got about a yard before he's pushed back. It'll be 2nd and 9 for Stevens Point.
And Joe, you alluded to this in the pregame. Of course, I was trying to pay attention as we were scrambling due to a bad cord, which caused me to pull out the little hair that I have left. But we got it fixed. But anyway, New Richmond taking on Rice Lake, and that's been a big rivalry game through the years. There was a playoff matchup where Rice Lake, this is 2 years ago now, just thumped New Richmond. Then New Richmond came back and beat them in the opening round. That game was called off tonight because of massive sickness on the part of New Richmond. They had to forfeit the game.
Isn't that something? Early in a school year like that.
Yeah.
Nearly fumbled Air, just dumps it off. Zach Orzewski, and he hit the sideline there at the Hudson bench. They'll mark him out of bounds. Let's see where they're going to spot it. It looks like at the Hudson 45-yard line, 44-yard line. So a gain of 7 on the play. Brings up 3rd and 2 here for the Panthers.
And again, Joe, looking out on this beautiful stadium, this big crowd on hand. We probably got upwards of 3,000 people here tonight, and we're going to have a great band performance at halftime. I know they've been working real hard, and the Radiers, they put on such a tremendous show and really been so supportive of the Hudson district with MSBN.
Simmons, straight keep from the quarterback position. Gets to the corner, can't turn it upfield. He's taken down shy of the first down. A very short gain. It'll be 4th and a short 2.
Now you would think if Stevens Point went on 4th and 16, that here with 4th and 2 they would most likely go for it. But I'm speculating there. And Holman has cut the deficit in half to Menominee, the always tough Menominee Mustangs, who had such a huge win against an Oshkosh North team in week 1. 14-7 Menominee over Holman. The Mustangs are going to be tough again.
Crowd getting into it on 4th and 2. It's Simmons on a keep again to the left side. Simmons turns it upfield. He's got a first down before he's driven into the Panthers bench, but he's inside the 40. Only needed the 41. And the chains move for Stevens Point on their 6th first down of this game.
Well, the Hudson defense was able to shift pretty well off to the right, but the blocking was there. They only needed to get a couple yards, and I thought the Hudson defensive shift was going to be able to stop them, but he got it, Joe, by probably an extra yard or more.
Yep.
So Panthers got another drive going here.
Simmons remains in. This time he hands it off. Kazuski tries to sweep near side and unable to turn ahead. Colander disrupted it. And Jacob Dalton finished things off. No gain on the play, 2nd and 10.
Jacob Dalton and his father, Ron Dalton, president of the Hudson Benchwarmers, and such a great organization behind. There's so much that goes into putting on these football teams, and a good booster club like the Benchwarmers does wonders behind the scenes.
Kazuski splits wide to the left this time. King wide right. Throwing quickly as Air and overshot his man, and then it was nearly intercepted. Kazuski got a hand on it. Jake Asembo thinks maybe he should have come down with it. In any event, John, 3rd and 10 coming.
Well, again, both of these teams, Stevens Point did have that pretty decent drive as they got inside the red zone, but offensively, neither one of these teams, Joe, has got into much of a positive offensive rhythm, and both trying through the air and on the ground, but defensively, we saw the prowess that Hudson brought against Kenosha Indian Trail, and they're showing it again here tonight.
3rd and 10 from the Raider 40. 3:45 to play in the half. Dropping back, looking for options there, just dumps it off. Kazuski at the 40. Hit. Gets ahead to about the 36, well shy of the first down. And now we'll see what the Panthers do with this 4th down. Error sprints to the sideline. It looks like he's going to get a play and bring it back in, John.
Brings up 4th down and 6. 4th and 6 for the
Certainly, in this quarterback situation, Air is the thrower, Simmons is the runner. Even I've been able to pick up on that one.
Well, and here they're probably going to, you're in no man's land. You're certainly not going to kick a field goal attempt from here, but I don't think you punt it away, and here we go. Going for it on 4th again.
Oh, little pooch kick.
Well,
And have done very well as that's going to roll to a stop at the Hudson 5-yard line. A nice 31-yard pooch kick, and boy, I don't know how often they practice it, but Air did a great job with it that time.
Well, and Hudson, who has struggled mightily on the offensive side of the ball so far, is going to be starting deep in their own territory. Here's another thing of last week, and even though Hudson's offensive numbers were not stellar by any means, but they won the battle of field position against Kenosha Indian Trail, and they are losing that battle tonight here. Luckily, it's still nothing on the scoreboard here, but you know, when you lose that field position battle, it's tough to pull out a win.
1st and 10 from the 5. Straight up the middle out to about the 7. Short gain on the plays. We tick down under 3 minutes to play in the half. Stevens Point only the 1 timeout remaining, so they can't really help themselves a whole lot from that regard right now. Handoff again, trying the middle out across the 10 to about the 12-yard line. Miller carries again for Hudson. You know, that's kind of the reset button that we've seen over the years, John, is okay, try to get that offensive stability. We're going to run our fullback. We're going to run our fullback.
That's right, and I think the addition of Aaron Squires next week will certainly help in that regard. But that's just smash mouth football, and it all comes down to the offensive line being able to create those, open up those running holes to get those 4 and 5 yard gains out of those between the tackle runs.
Hardman in motion. It's Miller on the carry again. Miller bounces it out across the 20, and he'll be run out of bounds at about the 23-yard line. That is a gain of 11, and that is a Hudson first down, just their 3rd of this game.
That being David Miller, 5'11", 165-pound junior, picking up a badly needed, a very important first down for the Raiders.
Credit him with 13, 1st and 10 from the 25. Second man through, it's Brown, and Brown is out to the 30 for a quick hitting gain of 5, finally taken down by Parker DeRue.
Want to invite our viewers to email in now that we have the audio situation fixed. We had some nice feedback about that, so thank you very much. And keep those emails coming in. Very easy to do. Click on the Email Us link on your game tracker screen. You can let us know who you are, where you're listening from, and who you're cheering for tonight.
Stubendick hands it off. No, he keeps. Stubendick has another first down across the 35, taken down at the 36-yard line. Clock will stop while the chains move. Gain of 6 for Stubendick. And John, only 2 first downs before this possession, and 2 first downs now on the possession for Hudson.
Yeah, not exactly lighting it up offensively, but the bottom line is this: it's a tie ball game.
Brown goes in motion. Hilterbrand looking for some help and just dives ahead back to the line of scrimmage. No gain. Clock continues to run down to 1:24 and counting.
It's almost, Joe, like Hudson is just content to try to run this clock out and go into halftime and try to rethink some things.
Hilterbrand wants to throw, tosses it out, and has his man at midfield. And diving ahead to the 40 is Max Stubendick. A gain of 23. We dip under, well, it's a 101 as we reset the chains.
Well, now the strategy changes because you've driven into Panther territory, and you do have the full complement of 3 timeouts with under a minute to work with.
Low snap, Hilterbrand wants to throw again, this time near side, has his man. Cutting back in and fumbling the ball. It is going to be recovered by Stevens Point. Charlie Pierce on the completion, but then stripped out of his hands, and Point takes over with 46.1 seconds left in the half.
Well, as Hudson, for the first time really in the first half, was starting to move the ball offensively, going to the air, they would have gotten them inside the 30-yard line with 46 seconds to go, and the full complement of 3 timeouts, but was not to be. Turn it over. Looks like the Panthers will probably just run clock and try to go out of here. We were looking like a scoreless first half, Joe.
Well, and that's unfortunate because Hudson offense finally gaining some traction, got some momentum there on that one. But instead they, not only losing, as you mentioned, the field position battle, but they're -2 in the turnover battle after that one. Handoff, Kazuski sweeps left. He's got a little bit of room. Now turns it upfield. He's got a first down and more, tripped up outside the 45-yard line. That's a gain of 17 for Kazuski.
first down.
We're getting in some additional Big Rivers Conference Big Rivers teams non-conference scores. Superior up 28-12 over Somerset.
Yeah, this one's coming back, it looks like, John. We got a hold on Stevens Point, so 10 yards from the spot of the foul is going to make this one 1st and 11.
Got a message in from my dad, Victor Wecken. Of course, he's probably going to be with us one of these games this season. We got to nail down which game it'll be, but probably one of these home games. Impressed with the new field.
Got to see the new stadium, Mr.
Yeah.
Wecken. Air wants to throw, running out of time, and down he goes. Bon Carl's the sack back at the 18. And now Hudson is going to call a timeout with 14.9 seconds left.
Well, now you start playing the chess match, the strategy, and Hudson, of course, trying to get the ball back as the Panthers fairly deep in their own territory coming off that Hudson turnover. And Hudson 2 timeouts left now. It's kind of going to take a perfect storm to be able to stop them and stop the clock again and possibly get the ball back with any time left at all. We'll have to see. Holden Tim emailing in, said new field is looking good. Great to see the Raiders off to a good start. And I remember Holden Tim from years past. And that's one of the great things about these broadcasts, Joe, is so many former players watch these games, whether they're off in college and maybe still here, off in the service. And the Raider pride doesn't stop when they hand you that diploma and you walk out of here, particularly the ball players that were part of such great teams in the 6 years we've done this. And, you know, the big 23-game home winning streak and the back-to-back conference championships. And a lot of ball players took part in that, and the Raider pride is still there.
2nd and 22. Bad snap. Air picks it up on a bounce, has to spin away from one. This is actually Simmons, and Simmons swarmed under back at the 10-yard line. And Hudson going to let time elapse, and we will go to halftime the way we began. No score. Hudson and Stevens Point through one half of football here at Raiders Stadium. Stevens Point won the opening coin flip. They deferred, so they receive here in the second half, and Ben Carls just punches one down the middle of the field. Picked up at the 16-yard line, stutter step at the 25, and dropped right there. Coming downfield to make the stop was Quinton Bates for Hudson. Check that. Go ahead, John.
Getting a quick score update here. The Menominee Mustangs, some things never change. The Menominee Mustangs 1-0 and ranked number 5, I believe, in Division II, already up 28-7 over Holman. Joe Labuta's juggernaut continues to do well.
Sam Simmons in at quarterback. He has been the running quarterback in the first half for Stevens Point. Turns, hands it off. Kazuski, and he is hit in the hole, dropped. Maybe a gain of 1 on the play. Stepping up to fill that hole was it Jonah Becken.
Some heavy hitting out there.
Give him a 2 on the carry. 2nd and 8 coming for Stevens Point. Dane Hoyard on the carry. Hoyard carried 3 times for 14 yards in the opening half. High snap. Simmons fakes, now throws left-handed right through the intended target's hands. Waiting for it was Andrew Erdman, that big tight end, but incomplete. Will bring up 3rd and 8.
Well, Hudson once again got very good, consistent defensive pressure. It came from inside and outside, kind of rushed that play along. And now forcing the Panthers to 3rd and long. If Hudson can stop them here and force them to punt it, they should get pretty good field position coming out of this. But the Panthers were able to convert a couple nice long 3rd and longs in the first half.
Elijah Root urging the crowd along here on 3rd and 8. Goodbow lines up as the defensive end on the far side, working on the left tackle. Simmons turns, fakes a handoff, rolling to Goodbow's side. Goodbow there to cut him off. Goodbow gives chase, almost had him. The pass is away and nearly intercepted. It is incomplete, and the punt unit coming on, 4 point.
And how would you like to have Cole Goodbow, 6'4", 250-pound senior, breathing down your neck, chasing you down? That's not a sight that any opposing quarterback would like to see. And I kind of lost track of what happened over there. I know Hudson had good defensive coverage on that pass, and the Panthers have to punch it away.
Tosseth on to punt it away for the third time for the Panthers. Brown and Carls await his kick. Line drive kick on the run, and it's loose, and again it's covered by Stevens Point, this time at their 45-yard line. And in the right spot at the right time was one of the Panther captains, Cole Wright, recovers that fumble. Third turnover of the game, all on fumbles for Hudson.
And that's very tough. That's something they avoided in week 1, but the turnover bug has bitten them multiple times here in week 2. And that's going to give the Panthers very good starting field position on their own 45-yard line. And it's such a buzzkill. You know, you stopped them on 3rd and long with a good heavy rush and forced them to punt it away. And boy, the defense has to stay out there. Tough break.
10:58 to play in the third quarter. We are scoreless. 1st and 10, Panthers from their 45. Simmons hands it off, and Kazuski runs through a big hole, bounces it to the outside. He's inside the 40, lowers the shoulder, and is all the way down to the Hudson 30-yard line. That is a gain of 25.
Well, the biggest play offensively so far. Colton Kazuski, we talked about him, had a pretty good first half. The 6'2", 192-pound senior. He runs with a low center of gravity, squares his shoulders well. The blocking was good. And a nice big gain, and the Panthers are knocking on the door again.
Jonah Becken and Cody Sika eventually brought him down. As you mentioned, John, that is the longest play from scrimmage we have seen tonight. 1st and 10 now from the Hudson 30. Simmons picks up the low snap, hands it off, and again. And now down the sideline, it's Kazuski inside the 10, cuts back at the 5, and he is in. It's a touchdown for Stevens Point, a 30-yard run. 6-0 Panthers.
Well, Colton Kazuski, he just they just gave it to him out in the flat, and he turned on the speed, broke a couple tackles there, and the first touchdown ever to be scored in the new stadium, unfortunately, has been scored by the opponent. Panthers up 6-0.
So for as good as the defense had been for the opening 2+ quarters, it takes just 2 plays for Colton Kazuski to travel 55 yards to give his Panthers the 6-0 lead. Keandre Porter on to attempt the extra point. And Porter knocks it through, and it is now 7-0 Stevens Point. We've got 10 minutes and 10 seconds remaining to be played here in the third quarter.
We want to invite our viewers to email us here at the game. Love to hear from you. We had some nice emails so far. Keep them coming in. It's very easy to do. Click on the email us link on your game tracker screen, the upper right-hand corner. You can let us know who you are, where you're listening from, who you're cheering for. We have quite a few people on board tonight. If you're at home watching on live TV on the River Channel, one thing you can do if you want to email us at the booth, you can put in MSBN Channel 2 at gmail.com. Shoot us an email. Love to hear from you.
John Bohanski puts the ball on the tee. He's given the okay as a trio of Raiders wait at the 15-yard line. He just scoots one past the front line, and the Raiders will cover it at their 34-yard line.
I want to correct myself here. If you're emailing, if you're watching at home on TV, you can email us here at the booth at MSBN Channel 2, the number 2, at mnsportsnetwork.com. I said the email address wrong. Of course, if you are emailing off the game tracker screen, if you're watching online tonight, just click on the email us link. People from all over watch these games. We've had some very good numbers. And year number 7, Hudson football on MSBN.
Hilterbrand at quarterback, hands it off, trying to sweep. It's Riley Brown, and Brown, boy, it looked like he was taken down with a face mask because Raiders don't react, and Brown turned the corner, picks up 6 yards out to the 40-yard line.
Of course, week number 2 in the 9-game season, a very early start this year.
Hilterbrand to pass on 2nd and 4, going deep down the far side, and it is caught at the 30-yard line. Oh, he laid it in there beautifully. Ben Carls ran underneath it. That's a 30-yard connection and a first down for Hudson.
That's exactly what the doctor ordered for the Hudson Raiders. They go to the air. Hilterbrand, we've talked about his passing prowess. That ball was where it needed to be when it needed to be there. Carl's got a step on his defender, and the Hudson Raiders got something brewing here finally.
Hilterbrand on a key, picks his way off the right side and couldn't run through the ankle tackle, but does fall ahead to the 25-yard line for a gain of about 3.
Of course, the Raiders and the first coaches poll of the year by WisconsinSports.net, coming in at number 9 in Division I. Good start coming off the big win last week down in Kenosha.
Brown in motion, Hilterbrand to throw, slings it out and overshoots Max Stubendick. Incomplete, it'll bring up 3rd and 6. Just the second incompletion tonight by Kaiser Hilterbrand.
In a very different look, you know, where Hudson is depending more and more on the pass than in past years they have. It's been a run first, pass second, but they're going to the air almost exclusively right now.
As they want to do here, Hilterbrand and runs out of time. Is not being able to take down by Cole Wright, and Hilterbrand running and stumbles his way to about the 24-yard line, got back to the line of scrimmage and maybe picked up a yard, John.
Well, that's big. Kaiser Hilterbrand, he's got a big arm. He's also a very big kid. He's coming in at 6'1", 210. He's a junior. And he showed some pretty good wheels and getting away from a sack that definitely would have knocked Hudson way back. It would have put him at 3rd and forever.
Instead, 4th and 5 and no hesitation from the offense and Adam Cowles. They throw it back this time. Thrown into the end zone. Touchdown! Hudson on the trickery. Stubendick finds Ben Carls. 25 yards on the strike, and the Raiders are within 1.
Well, the Hudson offense, which has been dormant up until this point, responds to the first Panther score, and we are an extra point away from a tie ball game. Coach Cowles had talked about that in the prior to the season starting. Stubendick and Hilterbrand, they're going to be a quarterback rotation, but they were going to play off each other, and that is exactly what he was talking about, and it worked. Touchdown, Raiders.
Ben Carl's on for the extra point. He knocks it through. And with 8 minutes and 12 seconds left to play in the 3rd quarter, your new score reads Stevens Point 7 and Hudson 7.
And
well,
again,
you said it would be a more offensive game here in the second half, and boy, the team's taking that one to heart.
Yeah, well, once in a while I'm accidentally right about something. It's pretty rare. But, yeah, it was very much an offensive struggle for both of these teams, or a defensive prowess, however you want to look at it. It's a glass half empty or half full, I guess. But both teams striking here early, and we got ourselves a tie ball game. And again, this is a rematch of the 2016 Level 2 playoff game where Stevens Point knocked out Hudson, a very good back and forth game. And of course, you can enjoy all the Raider games on MSBN, 6 seasons worth on the MSBN archive. Everything we have ever done dating back to September of 2005 is on there. We're going to hit over 16,000 on our archives before the end of this calendar year. Can you believe that?
That's a lot of events.
It is. It's and Joe, you've been there for most of it. It's been a lot of work, but it's been a lot of fun too. So go back and enjoy those archives as well. But we got a good one right now.
Carls knocks it down the middle of the field, picked up at the 15, brought ahead 25, darting through Kazuski, trying to bounce it to the outside, kind of fell down at the 42. They'll mark it at the 43-yard line, so great field position here for Stevens Point.
Popping my head out the window here. These LED lights are very different in the sense that they, if you can believe this, they point almost straight down and they're mirrored. The old style lights, like at Newton Field, for example, lit up everything. The LED lights are much more very focused. They're much more efficient and they're much more bright. than the old lighting. So part of the reason you're seeing the nicer video compared to years past is we have very good lighting here at our new field. And I love Newton Field as much as anybody, but this in a lot of ways is just a huge step up in terms of facility.
High snap. Hoyard got it before it hit the ground, but he is buried back at the 34-yard line. Goodbull was there, Becken was there, Rude was there.
And you feel an intensity start to pick up on this on the Hudson sideline and in the crowd, coming off that big score, and huge crowd here tonight, but you kind of feel a momentum building on the side of the Raiders.
Loss of 8 on the play, 2nd and 18 for the Panthers. Handoff. And Rude makes sure the runner goes down at the 40-yard line. Or check that was Colander.
Colander on the tackle for the Raiders.
Hoyard on the carry. Got 5 back. It's 3rd and 13 Panthers.
Well, now is where that defensive secondary we've talked about their improved play is going to be put to the test. As the Panthers most certainly here, most likely I should say, will go to the air on 3rd and long.
Brett Ayre has been their quarterback for this series. Fakes the handoff, dumps it off over the middle, and hit immediately and brought down is Erdman. It's a gain of 5. It brings up 4th and 8.
And Cody Sitcha, among others, in there on that hit. Looks like Jacob Dalton. As the Panthers are going to punt it away and see if Hudson can retain that offensive momentum that they had on their previous possession.
Again, it's Brown and Carl's back to receive the punt from Tosseth. Low snap, Tosseth able to get it. High end over end kick. Brown calls for the fair catch and catches it off the face mask, but maintains possession. And Hudson will start 1st and 10 from their 23. We are exactly halfway through this 3rd quarter. 6 minutes to play. Teams tied at 7.
Of course, next week the Eau Claire North Huskies, who traditionally struggle, but they are in a game here tonight. Last score update that I had was the Huskies only trailing Lacrosse Logan 7-0. That game being played over at Carson Park. The Huskies come to town next week, followed by the Superior Spartans. That's 3 games and home games in a row coming up.
Handoff to Brown, cuts it back and is caught from behind and driven ahead to the 25-yard line. That's a gain of 2.
Tackled by a swarm of Panthers. Brings up 2nd and 7. 2nd and 7.
And talking about the Week 4 opponent, the Superior Spartans, all over Somerset, 42-20. And they are ranked in Division II. The Spartans poised for another good season here in 2017.
Brown in motion. They're going to run the option. Hilterbrand keeps it. And Hilterbrand out to the 28-yard line. First one to get to him was Desmond Schomer of the Panthers.
Well, granted, my eyesight isn't as good as it once was, but I could have swore I saw a face mask. But the referee was right there. I guess he didn't.
Well, you and I have both seen a phantom face mask. For those of you keeping track at home, that's Joe 1, John 1 on the phantom face masks.
Looks like Hudson's going to call a timeout. It gives us time to talk about the new partnership between the MSBN Sports Network and the River Channel, local live TV of all Hudson football games this year, home and away. It's taken a little bit of doing. We signed a broadcast agreement. Want to thank station manager Nate Skoog, among others, in working with MSBN, working with me, and getting this partnership together and bringing even more people accessibility to these live broadcasts. And we're going to kick it off and continue to improve it, make it better. And my hope, big picture, is to bring a multi-camera setup here to our wonderful new facility and continue to make these productions bigger and better as the team continues to do very, very well. We have an excellent following, and thank you very much to the River Channel. And thank you to wherever you're tuning in tonight, whether you're viewing online or viewing local TV. Welcome to the broadcast.
3rd and 5 Raiders. Helterbrand drops. Helterbrand throws over the middle, has his man. Carls avoids one. Carls is loose in the secondary, gets up to the midfield stripe before he's taken down. A quick little pitch and catch is good for 22 and a first down.
I want to say hello to Mady Belland, emailing in from Madison. Says she said she convinced her sorority sisters to stay in tonight and stream the game with me. They're cheering on number 28, Easton Belland. Says good luck, little bro.
Helterbrand, straight key, picks his way off the right side. Helterbrand around the corner, 40, 35 to the 30, 25, 20, 15, and spun out of bounds near the 10. A huge run for Helterbrand and the Hudson Raiders. Got something going again here in the third quarter.
And if you were to visualize an intensity needle, that needle never, and it's a 1 to 10, that needle really never got above 2 for the Hudson Raiders in the first half, and now it's sitting at about 7 or 8 as they're knocking on the door again, coming off that scoring possession on their previous possession, looking to possibly go ahead here on the Panthers.
37-yard jaunt for Helterbrand, 1st and 10 from the 13. Helterbrand hands off, it's Brown. Brown inside the 10 to the 5, into the corner, touchdown! Hudson Riley Brown from 13 yards out.
Well, Riley Brown coming off that big kickoff return and a very good game last week against Kenosha. And Riley Brown strikes for the Raiders, and they're an extra point away from going up by 7. Good run.
And for the first time in stadium history, the Hudson Raiders have the lead. It's 13 to 7 as Ben Carls will look to tack on the extra point. Brown with his 3rd touchdown of the season for Hudson. 2nd on the ground. Carl's kick is up, and it is good. And with 4:22 left to play in the third quarter, it is Hudson 14 and Stevens Point 7.
Well, the score is not 141 to 7; it is 14 to 7. So,
but I like the way you think.
That would be a pretty high-scoring game. 14 to 7 Raiders, and the last 2 offensive possessions, very, very impressive for the Hudson Raiders after they fell down 7-0, and really were not able to do much of anything offensively in the first quarter. But coming out of the locker room, that's the mark of a good coaching staff. Make the adjustments, refocus your athletes. There's a lot of pressure in this game. You're playing the team that knocked you out last year. You're playing a very good program. You're in front of 3,000 plus people and your home opener in a brand new stadium. That's a lot of pressure. And maybe in the first half that was coming into play, but they're coming into their own right now here with back-to-back scoring drives. Looking good.
Ben Carls is set to kick it away for Hudson. Neither team has really kicked it deep in this one.
You see a lot of squib kicking now. You never used to, but a lot now.
And another one, this one picked up at the 31. And diving out to the 38-yard line is Desmond Schomer on the return for Stevens Point.
Of course, the official open house of the new stadium will be on Saturday, September 9th, and I'm thinking we're going to have some kind of broadcast. We will play Superior the night before, and then the opening ceremonies, I guess, if you will, and they have a lot of things planned with bands playing and a movie playing on the video scoreboard and a lot of different things. We'll see if we can get some kind of a broadcast. If not, film it and have it available, but very exciting. That's coming up here in a couple weeks.
Straight drop air deep down the far side and off of the fingertips of the intended receiver. Running stride for stride was Asembo defensively.
Just off the fingertips there. Nice looking ball, nice spiral, and just off the fingertips.
Mason King, the intended receiver for Stevens Point. 2nd and 10 now for the Panthers.
Chippewa Falls still holding a 21-7 lead over Medford over at DeRay Field in Chippewa Falls.
Handoff, and boy, good line push. Earns an easy 4 yards for Hoyard.
Hoyard on the carry, a swarm of Raiders on the tackle, gain of about 3 on that, 4. will make 36, 30 along 6.
And Kazuski, of course, has had such a tremendous second half for the Panthers, and I look for them to try to get the ball in his hand here on this 3rd and 6. Hudson Raiders signaling the crowd to get up, make some noise.
Parker Beatles comes split wide to the near side. King split wide to the left. Air, straight drop, looking left again, throwing deep. And reaching up and getting a hand on that one. Defended very nicely by Asembo.
And if you're the Panthers, do you gamble here? In your own field? No, they're not. That would be really risky. You know, falling down 14-7 and going for it on 4th and 6. But I've seen Coach Cowles do it many a time. Sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't.
So toss-a-thon for the 3rd time here in the quarter. Good snap this time. Knuckleball of a kick. Fair catch is signaled for and taken by Ben Carls at the 33-yard line. 25-yard punt. No return. 1st and 10 Raiders from their 33. 3:11 left to play in the 3rd quarter. Raiders lead this one 14-7.
Joe, you and I are both sports fans and baseball fans, and we're getting into the time of year that I just really love the best. High school football, college Division I college football starts next weekend. The NFL starts the weekend after, and rather unexpectedly, both the Twins and the Brewers find themselves playing relevant games here in late August. I'm not sure either one's going to go to the playoffs, but as of right now, they're in the mix. And as a baseball fan of these two respective teams, you got to enjoy that.
I know I'm certainly enjoying it on my side of the river, and yeah, certainly unexpected. They fake the handoff. Helterbrand keeps, runs out of an ankle tackle, spins his way for a 1st down out to the 44-yard line. A gain of 11 for Kaiser Helterbrand. And he has he has really picked things up here in the second half.
He has, you know, and basically what they've done in the past is Helterbrand's been, quote-unquote, the passing quarterback, and Stubendick, who's more of the traditional, smaller, option-style quarterback. You know, that's kind of how they work it. But they've changed things up, and they're running that quarterback draw with Helterbrand to great success.
Helterbrand hands it off and hit immediately in the backfield and dropped. Miller loses 3 on the play. And I believe that was Cole Wright knifing in there defensively for Stevens Point. And he comes up, maybe just tying his shoe there, John. I thought maybe he rolled an ankle, but
yeah,
he looks good.
He does, and excellent interior defensive penetration by the Panthers that time. They shut that down cold.
Helterbrand to throw, looking for options. Finally, over the middle, it's Carls, and Carls a juggling catch. He's down at the 40-yard line of Stevens Point. A gain of 19 and a Hudson 1st down.
That being Ben Carls, 5'10", 180-pound junior, and he's really developing into one of the primary targets out of the slot position, out of the split end position for the Raiders.
1st and 10 from the 40. Handoff, no, they fake it to Brown. Helterbrand right up the middle. Gains about a yard. It'll be 2nd and long for the Raiders.
Another score update. Eau Claire North, who comes to town to face the Hudson Raiders next week, all knotted up 7-7 in the 3rd quarter over at Carson Park against La Crosse Logan. Wouldn't that be huge for North if they could pull that one out tonight?
Handoff, Stubendick wants to throw and runs out of time. He is taken down. Mason King, or check that, 91, John Bohanski with the tackle back at the 45. A loss of 5, 3rd and long, Hudson.
And that option play worked so well before, but Stevens Point was all over that right from the get-go that time.
3rd and 15 for the Raiders. Brown in motion, and we get a flag and illegal procedure, the call on Hudson.
Well, the 3rd and long just got longer.
3rd procedure penalty on the Raiders tonight. Makes it 3rd and 20 from the midfield stripe. Ben Carls, John, has 4 receptions in this game, all in the third quarter for about 95 yards. As the quarterback draw, Hilterbrand picks his way back down to the 45. It'll bring up 4th and 15 after the gain of 5.
Looks like Hudson, although Coach Cowles has a tendency to go for it on 4th down, and this is, in my opinion, the right move here. They are going to punt it away, and with a good punt, they should pin Stevens Point pretty far back deep in their own territory, holding on to that 7-0 lead as we're under a minute to go in the third.
Carls has nearly had a couple punts blocked. Gets this one away, a low spinning kick. Hits at the 20-yard line, takes a Hudson bounce inside the 15 and comes to a stop at the 14-yard line, a 31-yard kick with no return. 22.9 seconds remain to be played in this third quarter as the Panthers take over from their 13.
Of course, Hudson has a very different type schedule this year than they had last. Last year, if you recall, those of you who follow the team and the broadcast, 4 games on the road to start the season last year. We were down in Madison, and then against Greenfield. Then we played Arrowhead down in Milwaukee. And then we went over to Eau Claire to play North, and then we went up to Superior. We had 4 home games, 1,500 miles traveling before we ever had a home game. Different scenario this year.
High snap, ends up back in the end zone. Who's going to get on it? It's Hudson, and it's a touchdown!
Big-time defensive play by the Raiders.
Trying to see who ended up on top of that one, John. I believe it was a Jonah Becken, perhaps Easton Belland.
Easton Belland. Well, that's the second time tonight, second or third time, that the Panthers have had a bad snap.
Carl's kick is a good. And with 19 seconds left to play here in the third quarter, it is now Hudson 21, Stevens Point 7.
21 unanswered points by the Hudson Raiders after Stevens Point scored the first touchdown. And after a scoreless first half, we now had combined 28 points scored in the third quarter. We thought that, maybe we're going to see some more offense, and we have. But defensively, Hudson making the Panthers pay for their mistakes. And that high snap, Kareem Abdul-Jabbar couldn't have got that one. And Hudson had a good defensive penetration. Johnny on the spot, another 7 points.
Well, in the first turnover that Hudson has been able to force tonight, they've been close a couple other times, but finally get one, and it just so happens it's in the end zone. So they make that turnover count, extend their lead late in the third quarter. And prior to that play, John, they had a 14-7 lead to the Raiders despite being -3 on the turnover battle. So credit the defense for keeping them in there.
Absolutely, and and in the first half particularly, they badly lost the field position battle, but much different story here in the second half.
This time Carls kicks it off, chases Hoyard all the way back to the 10. Hoyard out across the 20 to the 25 before he is dropped. A number of blue jerseys meet him there.
Tackled by Quentin Bates. Quentin Bates on the tackle for the Raiders. Down, Panthers.
1st and 10, Stevens Point from their 25-yard line. 13.5 seconds left to play in the third quarter.
Joe, I was looking for, and maybe I missed it, the bleacher creatures with their flag when there's 4 of them, usually 3 or 4. When Hudson scores a touchdown, they go across in front of the crowd, and I did not see them this time. Maybe I missed them. Tradition.
Kind of being told that trying to keep them in the crowd, there's really no good way to get out onto the field and back as a Kazuski. Another great run here for Stevens Point. Picks his way into Hudson territory before he falls out of bounds at the 48. That's a 27-yard gallop. Kozuski now, the last 3 carries he's had, 25, 30 for a touchdown, and 27.
He's a good-looking back, and I remember him from last year. He was a big reason that the Panthers knocked Hudson out of the playoffs last year, particularly in that second half when they needed to pick up those crucial first downs and were grinding out the clock, sitting on top of a lead. They put it in his breadbasket, and he got the job done. And well, he's racking up some good numbers tonight.
Elijah Rude comes off, slightly dinged up after that play, replaced on the field by Torrin Phillips. They fake to Kozuski. Simmons going to keep it. Simmons runs to the left corner, turns it, and is taken down at the 42. That's a gain of 6. And that will take us to the conclusion of quarter number 3. Your score at the end of 3 here at Raiders Stadium. It is Hudson 21, Stevens Point 7.
Want to say hello to Stephen Gaffer emailing in. He's watching from Spooner tonight. He says, excellent broadcast. Thank you very much. And he says, go Raiders. Of course, I'm originally from Hayward. Spooner was our rival to the north, the Spooner Rails. That was and still is, one of those rivalries where 2 schools very close that meet every year, play in the same conference, and they got a history that goes back there. And the Spooner Rodeo, Jack Pine Savage days. Got to get up that way. I'll have to see. I haven't been able to get up up north as much this summer as I had wanted. Very busy and whatnot, but got a place up there north of Hayward. Looking to get back there one of these days. And yeah, summer is fading away. Fall is here. Joe, did you have a good summer?
I had a great summer. It's hard to believe that the Minnesota State Fair started yesterday, which signals the end of summer to those of us that live nearby. Listening to you talk about Hayward and Spooner, it just, I get a kick because, every year I think both you and I look forward to the Hudson Menominee game, and to find out that it was quite a battle way back when Burton Field first kicked off in the 40s. There's another great run here by Kozuski. A first down inside the 30 and down to the 28. That is a gain of 14.
Boy, Kozuski just continues to impress. If he doesn't get injured and continues to develop, he's potential all-state caliber. What's he up to now, Joe, for total yards?
Oh yeah, you're putting
ballpark.
Putting my math skills to a test there.
Yeah,
he's 97 this half, 134 for the game now.
Yeah, good game.
He gets it again, big hole off the right side to the 20. Tried to bounce it out to the outside, just knocked his own man out of his way, and Kozuski another first down run to the 16-yard line, a gain of 12.
Even though Hudson has a 2-score lead, if the Panthers are able to punch this in, we're just now into the fourth quarter, less than a minute in, then it's a whole new ballgame. And they're driving inside the red zone.
5 carries into this half for Colton Kozuski. All of them have been for double-digit gains. Simmons turns, hands it off to him again, and this time Kozuski plows the pile to the 10-yard line, a gain of 6.
And it's just a scenario where we're going to give it to Kozuski until Hudson displays that they can stop him. It's nothing sophisticated, nothing fancy, but it works. And you just keep going and going and going until the defense, whether they bring, additional guys into the box and then you possibly do a play action, maybe a rollout and whatnot, but until they can stop him, and they have yet to do it, you just keep giving it to him.
Well, like I like to say, if it ain't broke, don't fix it.
Absolutely.
They fake to Kozuski. Simmons keeps off the left side. He tries to get to the corner. He's inside the 5, reaches for the pylon, ends up about a yard short. It's first and goal for Stevens Point.
I like the play call by Stevens Point because that's exactly what they did. They play action to Kozuski. The defense collapsed inside, and they did a rollout quarterback option run, and when they get down to the 1. I like the play call there. Now it's up for the Hudson defense to put up the brick wall as the Panthers are a yard away from drawing to within 1 score.
Kazuski, the tailback. Low snap, they hand it off. Kazuski is to the goal line, he's in. Touchdown, Stevens Point. 1 yard plunge makes this a 21-13 ball game.
Well, and it ain't over. You know, Hudson had a tremendous run there, 21 unanswered points, but the Panthers strike back to cut the deficit in half, and they're an extra point away from drawing to within 7. For a first half that saw nothing in terms of scoring, 34, possibly soon to be 35 points scored, and we got 9.5 minutes to go here in the fourth.
Keandre Porter on to attempt the extra point. The left-footed kick, it looked like it may have been partially blocked.
How did that get in?
But it never got more than 12 feet off the ground, which is high enough. It was through. Extra point is a good, and with 9 minutes and 25 seconds left to play in the fourth quarter, your new score is Hudson 21, Stevens Point 14.
Just checking on some score updates from Big Rivers Conference games. Menominee all over Medford, 35-7. That one's in the third. Chi-Hi up 28-7. That's over Holman. Trying to make sure I got the opponents right here. Yeah, but no, excuse me. Menominee's playing Holman. And Chi-Hi is playing Medford.
You are correct, sir.
Yeah. I guess.
Kickoff comes bouncing through, scooped up on the 20, coming right up the middle of the field is Brown out across the 30, stood up at the 35-yard line and knocked backwards. 15-yard return for Brown, and the Raiders in good field position, leading 21-14, 9:18 left to play in the ball game.
Looks like Riley Brown's going to get the vast majority of the kickoff returns, and he has that. He's not a real big guy. He kind of has that hint of explosiveness, a la Burgess and Marvin from last year. Two very exciting players. Of course, seniors, graduated, going on to other things, but he has hints of that. I think he's going to have a good season.
Straight keep, Helterbrand trying to run away from the defense, giving up yards as he does so, and dropped back at the 31-yard line, a loss of 4 on the play.
Well, Helterbrand had some nice runs out of that with that quarterback option play. Oh, is he down?
Injury timeout.
Uh-oh.
Yeah, I can't tell who that is on the far side.
I think that's Helterbrand. I'm speculating here. But he was on the carry. Oh, boy. It's hard to see from here. And obviously something of potentially a serious nature as additional people are going on to the field. And I'm guessing I think that's Kaiser Helterbrand. Oh, that's going to be tough.
And as Hudson offense comes to the near side, John, I'm not picking up a number 18 coming to the sideline,
right,
so I believe you're right.
By process of elimination, it would be him, and he was the carrier.
Adam Cowles is walking away. I'm going to take that as a good sign.
Yeah. And, of course, Hudson is employing a quarterback rotation with Stubendick and Helterbrand, similar to what they did last year, but they're doing a lot of different things this year that they didn't do last season in terms of utilizing both players in simultaneously. Yeah, now Helterbrand's walking off. He's tough. Gingerly.
Walking slow,
yeah,
but walking under his own power. That's a good thing to see.
It was hard to see. Was on the other side of the field. Did he turn an ankle? Did he turn a knee? Is it a groin pull, a cramp? It's hard to say. But I tell you one thing: to see big number 18 pop up and walk off is huge for the Hudson Raider team. I don't know if he'll be back tonight. Injuries are part of the game of football, unfortunately.
So Max Stubendick will work from under center. 2nd and 14 Raiders. Stubendijk turns. Second man through is Brown, and Brown spun down at the 40-yard line. That's a gain of 8. Sets up 3rd and 5 for the Raiders.
Nice blocking that time by the Raider offensive line. Brown has a nice hole to run through, had a real solid run. And Riley Brown continues to impress. And again, Aaron Squires, one of the leading backs from last season, will return to the team starting next week.
Kenny Hardman went in motion. He comes back. Brown in motion, handoff. No, it's on the ground again.
Boy, big pile up there. I think Stevens Point was on it. We'll have to see. They
do have it. Riley Brown, I think, had a hand on it, tried to wrestle it free, but coming out of the stack with it was John Bohanski for Stevens Point.
And the turnover bug, like a pesky mosquito, has bitten the Raiders yet again. Number 4 on the night. That's tough.
And they've been consistent, John. That's a fumble, lost fumble, 1 in each quarter tonight. So they're done.
And I'm just watching here Helterbrand, and my view is a little bit blocked, but he's on the table down there. And Hudson obviously rattled as he went down and turned it over, and the Panthers looking to take advantage of that turnover.
Handoff, Kozuski breaks a tackle, runs free to the right corner, to the 30, turns it up, 25, 20 down the sideline, and he's going to go in. It is a 38-yard touchdown run for Kozuski as he has just gone nuts here in the second half.
And we have had a scoring, well, now wait a minute.
Oh, there is a flag on the play.
A scoring extravaganza after a scoreless first half. And that's going to come back, and that is a life-saving
You can
call.
Take that off the board, yes.
Another Hudson injury we're going to have to attend to, but Kozuski with 132 yards already on the ground. And if I recall last year, I'd have to go back and look, he had almost 200 against Hudson in that playoff game last year. An excellent run. The blocking was there. Well, I think the hold probably helped, but it's going to come back. A lucky break for Hudson, but yet another injury to deal with.
And this time it looks as though it is Bon Carls, the injured Hudson player.
Another tough one.
And but again, walking off under his own power, so that's the good news. That's the silver lining. Holding call, 10-yard penalty is going to mark it back to the Hudson 47-yard line. It'll be 1st and 19 from there for Stevens Point. And John, on the evening now, 15 carries, 152 yards for Colton Kozuski, 2 touchdowns. So would have been 190 yards and 3 touchdowns without that holding call.
Well, and the Panthers really looking to take advantage of yet another Hudson turnover, 4 on the night, and Hudson dodged a big-time bullet, and now Carls is out. Helterbrand and Carls, 2 key cogs in this Raider machine, relegated to the sidelines with injury.
Handoff. This time it's Hoyard on the carry, and he gets dragged down by Goodbow after a gain of 2. 2nd and 17.
Brian Rosenberger emailing in. He said, asking me how I like the new stadium digs. He's listening and watching the broadcast, and the stadium is wonderful. A job well done, and a lot of work went into this to be able to pull this off on August 25th, and they were working on this thing or even earlier today. And a fine facility.
Simmons at quarterback. Hands it off, trying to sweep near side. Kozuski down the sideline, cuts it back at the 30, stumbles his way for a first down at the 25-yard line, a gain of 20.
Well, Kozuski's closing in on that 200-yard mark, just like he had last year in the playoffs there, and they're featuring him almost exclusively with good reason. And the Panthers, we're under the 7-minute mark here in the fourth quarter, down by 7. The Raiders in their first opening season home game, trying to preserve the lead.
1st and 10 from the Raider 25, 6:40 left to play in the fourth quarter. 21-14 Hudson. Simmons keeps right up the middle. He goes. Simmons is dropped at the 16-yard line, just shy of another Stevens Point first down, a gain of 9 for Simmons.
The Menominee Mustangs continuing to roll 42-7, ranked in the top 10 in Division II, defending conference champions from 2016 under legendary coach Joe Labuda. The showdown with Hudson looming in a few weeks, looking to go to 2-0.
In fact, it will be the next time Hudson has to play away from this fabulous new stadium. Not until week 5. Handoff, Kazuski bounces it out to the right, runs past a couple, dives inside the 10 to the 7-yard line, and it'll be 1st and goal, Panthers.
Kazuski has phenomenal field vision, phenomenal balance, and he squares his shoulders so well and cuts so quickly. He is a very impressive back. He really is. And he's getting better as the game goes on. You know, sometimes the fatigue sets in and you lose a step. He's going the other way. Excellent conditioning, and they are just giving it to him, and he is making Hudson pay. And now the defense has to put up the stone wall and protect this lead.
Tightly packed formation around Simmons. Hands it off to Hoyard, and not much going on there. No gain, maybe a short loss on the play. It'll be 2nd and goal. Ball at the 8 and a timeout on the field for another injury, this time from Stevens Point. Or no, it is another Hudson player.
Boy, the injury bug, that's number 3. And Hudson did not have any injuries of note in game 1 that I was aware of. Now the 3rd one here, and just the last, I don't know, 6-7 minutes, I suppose, in the second half here. And want to thank our viewers for joining the broadcast tonight, whether you're watching online on the MSBN Sports Network or on live TV on River Channel, Channel 6 here locally in Hudson. We're going to go on to the full broadcast next week. We're going to launch a new website dedicated exclusively to Hudson broadcasts. Well, more about that later on in the week, and also bring in our local sponsors. We wanted to do this first home game straight up in our partnership with the River Channel, and we'll be able to bring on those local sponsors, and those local sponsors is what allows us to be able to continue to do these broadcasts. In week 3, the conference, Big Rivers Conference opener next week against Eau Claire North, right here at Hudson Stadium. I keep wanting to say a name like Newton Field or DeRay Field, or to my knowledge, this doesn't have a name yet. I'll have to see if they're going to name it or what they're going to do here.
Yeah, all I've seen and heard is Raiders Stadium, which...
Raiders Stadium. That works, I guess. Well...
Injured player Elijah Rude, and he's going to be helped off the field, putting weight on both legs, but very gingerly. And, John, I look down at the Hudson sideline, and Bon Carls sits by himself on a bench. Kaiser Helterbrand is carrying around some crutches with him now on the sideline.
Oh, boy, not a good sign.
But he does have weight on both legs, does Helterbrand. So hopefully nothing too serious there. And as we come back to the action, 5:07 left to play in the fourth quarter. 21-14 Raiders, but Spash 2nd and goal from the Raider 8-yard line. Colton Kazuski been a one-man wrecking gang in this one. Simmons on the keep, trying to get left corner. Simmons inside the 5 is taken down by Goodbow at the 2. It'll be 3rd and goal from outside the 2.
And you have to think, Joe, with under 5 minutes to go, down by 7, and they displayed this earlier, even back in the first half, they're in 4-down territory here.
Most definitely.
Inside the 3. 2 big downs here. The Hudson defense is going to have to come up big.
Brett Ayer in at quarterback. Interesting. Ayer hands it off. Kazuski picks his way into the end zone. Touchdown, Stevens Point, and they are an extra point away from tying this ball game. 2-yard run, third touchdown of the night for Kozuski.
Well, while Joe adds up the Kozuski numbers, it's just interesting to note here, Hudson had that big advantage by having the earlier touchdown called back on a hold, but Stevens Point overcame that adversity and ended up punching it in anyway, and now they are an all-important extra point away from tying this game up after Hudson scored 21 unanswered points. The Panthers strike back with 2 scores of their own, and
they're going for 2
they're going
here.
for 2. Here it is. This might be the game right here.
They spread it out. Receivers wide to both sidelines. Looking to pass. Air throws incomplete, defended beautifully by Jacob Dalton, and the Raiders maintain a 21-20 lead with 4 minutes and 20 seconds left to play.
The Panthers rolling the dice, and we saw that they possibly didn't have confidence in their kicking game from some of the play calling earlier in the game. We don't know if that played in or not, but they were going potentially for the win. We still got 4:20 to go here instead of the extra point for the tie, and Hudson clinging to that 1-point lead. Jacob Dalton, excellent defensive coverage that time. The defensive secondary continues to impress. I saw it last week in Kenosha and continuing to see it again here tonight, doing a much better job. Opponents going out with multiple receiver sets, and they're switching very well and shut it down.
Maybe I'm the only one, but is there anybody else out there that can't believe they didn't turn and hand the ball to Kozuski on that 2-point conversion? He's been a human wrecking ball this entire half, and you would try to throw for 2 points?
Yeah. And
we'll take it.
Yeah. Well, of course, if a play like that works, you say, oh, that's brilliant because you're keying on Kozuski and they go the other way, but it was not to be.
Kick is finally picked up. Carls picked it up at his 7 and dives out over the 15 to the 16. So 4:15 left to play in the fourth. 21-20 Hudson. But oh boy, John, in a game that's gone back and forth from a momentum standpoint, it is not on Hudson's side right now.
No, it's not. Stevens Point has their full complement of 3 timeouts. 4:15 to go. Hudson has 2 timeouts. The key here, sitting on this very slim, tenuous 1-point lead, is to convert the first downs, continue to run the clock, force Stevens Point to burn the timeouts, but they're deep in their own territory, and the running game of Hudson has kind of been hit and miss. We'll have to see, and Stubendick is out, Halterbrand is out, so it's all going to have to be with Max Stubendick under center.
Hardman goes in motion, handoff Miller, big hole off the left side, and Miller out across the 20. Finally stood up and stopped. They'll mark it at the 26, a gain of 9 for Miller.
That being David Miller, 5'11", 165-pound junior. He's kind of been the complement to Brown out of the backfield for Hudson in these first 2 games. Nice run there. Clock continuing to run.
Hardman wingback near side, Riley Brown wingback far side. Handoff is Miller. He's got a first down and spins his way out to the 30, a gain of 4. And again, we see Adam Cowles go back and hit that reset button and play what we're used to seeing here in Hudson.
Absolutely, and this is where the turnover bug cannot bite again. 4 turnovers so far for Hudson, and it's tough to overcome that. But they've been able to do it, clinging to this 1-point lead. You play it tough. You play it between the tackles. Continue to run that clock and force Stevens Point to burn the timeout and stop you.
Hudson has already run more than a minute off the clock. Handoff Miller, this time limited space to run. He's converged and dropped for a short loss and a timeout. On the field, first of the half taken by Stevens Point. Stops the clock with 3:06 left to play. 2nd and 11 coming for Hudson out of this timeout.
Just a quick peek into the MSBN scoreboard. Menominee all over Holman. They'll look to move to 2-0 and continue to climb the rankings in Division II. The defending 2016 champion Mustangs the Chippewa Falls Cardinals, opening up a 28-13 lead over Holman. Superior was up big over Somerset earlier, and a very unfortunate situation with the Rice Lake New Richmond game, where New Richmond ended up having to forfeit the game due to multiple illnesses. And that's been a good rivalry game through the years. New Richmond, that was going to be up in Rice Lake, and that's a game you would have heard here on MSBN, but Rice Lake will take the win. Unfortunately for New Richmond, that's a tough way to lose a game.
2nd and 11. And Stubendick spun around and dropped for another loss. And another timeout taken by Stevens Point. Their second stops the clock with 2:59. A loss of 2 makes it 3rd and 13. John, you mentioned the New Richmond Rice Lake game, and it'll be interesting to see how that affects Rice Lake.
Yeah.
With, all of a sudden they get a week off that I'm sure they'd love to be seeing somebody else line up across from them, and they've got a good one next week as they host Chippewa Falls, so it's not going to be easy for them, and wonder how that may affect them next week.
Well, Joe, we've done this 6 years. This is our 7th season, and Hudson has a winning record against every team, against the 7 teams. There's 8 teams in the Big Rivers, and they have a winning record against 6 out of the 7 teams. The one team they don't is Rice Lake.
Yeah.
Rice Lake, we've played 6 times, and Rice Lake's won 4 out of the 6. And against this Hudson team, who's had some tremendous seasons, that's a pretty big accomplishment. And it's even more impressive when you think that Rice Lake is a Division III team.
Yeah, the smallest
playing in a
school.
predominantly Division I conference. So I've always had a lot of respect for them, and they'll bounce back. And it's kind of a weird, unfortunate thing that happened to them tonight.
3rd and 13. They put 3 seconds back on the clock. 3:02 to play. Stubendick throws, and it's short and wide of the intended target, Ben Carls. And that brings up 4th and 13. The incomplete pass also stops the clock at 2:57.
A perfect scenario if you're a Stevens Point Panther fan. 2 running plays that went absolutely nowhere. Burned 2 timeouts, so very limited amount of time went off. Hudson forced to go to the air on 3rd and long. Incomplete pass naturally stops the clock. It's going to be up to the Hudson defense. They're going to have to come up big.
And it looks like Hudson will have to back up 5 yards and try this again. Illegal procedure, 4th of the night against the Raiders.
And that's tough. That's something they're really going to work on. 4 illegal procedures is tough to overcome. Big time penalties, 4 turnovers, and you're still holding a lead. Got to keep your fingers crossed. It's going to be up to the Raider defense. You need a big punt.
Nearly blocked again. Carl's punt hits in Hudson territory and goes sideways before rolling across the midfield stripe. And dead. They'll mark it right at the 50. No, they're going to say it was batted back, and so it is spotted at the Hudson 47-yard line. 2:42 left to play. Stevens Point with 1 timeout left, Hudson with 2. Hudson, however, has the 1-point lead.
Well, in Stevens Point has a second chance, I guess, at redemption here after the 2-point conversion to take the lead failed. But they forced Hudson 3 and out, and very little time got burned off that clock.
Simmons hands it off. Kozuski this time runs into a host of blue jerseys.
Tackle by Goodbow. Goodbow on the tackle. Timeout. Stevens Point.
And Stevens Point burns its final timeout here with 2:35 left to play after no gain. 2nd and 10 coming.
Well, Joe, we expected a good game. 2 teams, a rematch from a playoff, level 2 playoff game last year over in Stevens Point, won by the Panthers. Opening night here, season opener, brand new stadium, a scoreless first half. Stevens Point goes up 7-0. Hudson answers with 3 straight scores to go up 21-7. Stevens Point answers with 2 scores back of their own, goes for the 2-point conversion for the lead. Hudson holds them. couldn't ask
And-
for a better night. And the rain held, and on top of that, the rain held off.
The rain held off.
Been talking rain all day, and it's held off.
I expected us to an opportunity to see how this would play with some rain on the artificial turf field, but not tonight.
Good way to open up the new field here. In a nice tight game, 21-20. It's up to the Hudson defense to get it done.
2nd and 10 Panthers. Simmons slings it out, has his man inside the 40, and it's Kozuski out of the backfield. He will have a Stevens Point first down to the 35-yard line, a pitch and catch of 12 yards.
And of course, the Panthers are going to work the sideline now, as they are now out of timeouts. They had to burn 2 timeouts when Hudson was on offense, and they burned their other one just prior to that play, so they're going to have to work the sideline. The question mark is this, and I think I know the answer: is a potential game-winning field goal even an option? We would think that it probably isn't, but you never know. You never know.
Yep. Simmons at quarterback, hands it off. Kozuski trying to bounce it out to the right side. Cuts it back up the middle of the field and dives ahead near a first down to the 26-yard line.
And Kozuski, Hudson had him stopped for about a 1-yard gain, and as he's done all night, he was able to shift and break a couple tackles, and he turned, a 1 or 2 yard gain into what, 8? Wow.
2nd, a short 2. Handoff, trying to sweep near side, and a beautiful tackle coming ahead that time was Asembo.
Tackle by Jakes Asembo on the tackle. Gain of about 1. That's 3rd down and 1. Ball's
3rd and what looks to be just a couple of inches, John.
And the clock, and even as important, the clock continuing to run. Stevens Point cannot stop it. Just kind of a version of the old Packer sweep that time with the blockers out in front and an excellent open field tackle to stop it.
Handoff, Kozuski's got a first down, cuts it up the middle. He's inside the 20, taken down at the 17-yard line. Clock stops momentarily with 58 seconds while the chains move.
Well, that's another thing Stevens Point can work to their advantage in high school football, different from the NFL. With the gaining of a first down and the movement of the chains, the clock does stop temporarily. You can utilize that, work the sideline. We're now under a minute.
With 8 yards on that play, Colton Kozuski, 200 yards rushing this evening on 21 carries. A flag and a false start will back the Panthers up. 37 seconds left on the clock.
Well, this one coming right down to the wire here. What a great finish.
Clock winds, it's now 1st and 15. They fake to Kozuski. Simmons to the left side, inside the 15, taken down at the 11.
And the clock continuing to run.
A gain of 12. 20 seconds left.
I wonder if they're going to spike it here and stop the clock. I don't think so. Yes, they are.
do. Simmons spikes it with 14.1. That'll make it 3rd and 4. Ball at the 12.
Now we got a intentional grounding.
Intentional grounding. And a loss of down with that. It didn't matter. It was going to be a loss of down either way.
Well, I'm confused at that call because he was clearly spiking it to stop the clock.
Here's our answer, John. They're going to attempt a field goal.
They're going to attempt a field goal. Okay, we talked about it. They've gone away from it. And I wonder if Hudson's going to take a timeout to ice them. They are. Good move.
Timeout Hudson. 14.1 seconds left. Stevens Point lining up for what will be a 34-yard field goal attempt near hash. So angled left-footed kicker can hook it back in to the uprights from there.
And let's go back and review. Stevens Point elected not to go to the extra point earlier, attempted the 2-point conversion, failed in doing so, and therefore they're down by 1. In the first half, in a scoreless first half, they were 4th and 16 on what, about the 15-yard line
Yeah.
or whatever,
Yeah.
17, 18, whatever it was.
Similar
And
situation
similar
to this.
situation to this, and they went for it, which you would be led to conclude that they didn't have a lot of confidence in their kicker. Now here, in a twist of fate, it's going to be up to the kicker, potentially, to win the game.
And does the timeout make them reconsider? It does not. Keandre Porter
There it is.
setting the kicking tee down on the 23-yard line. So a 33-yard attempt. Left-footed kicker, senior kicker, Keandre Porter for the win for Stevens Point. It's down. The kick is up. It curls. It is good.
Oh, man. Wow.
33-yarder from Porter sneaks over the crossbar, and the Panthers have a 23-21 lead and even 10 seconds left on the clock.
Heartbreaking kick for the Hudson Raiders. Wow. 23-21. Stevens Point went away from their kicking option time and again, only to potentially win the game with the field goal attempt.
Well, Riley Brown ran one back last week.
He did. Unfortunately, there isn't a whole lot of time left. Hudson does have the one timeout left. They used one to ice the kicker. But with only 10 seconds, tough break. Who's messing with the lights here?
Bohanski punches it down the middle. It's dropped back for Ben Carls. Carls to the 30. He's caught and driven down at the 30. There's 5 seconds left on the clock.
And Hudson was definitely in the driver's seat, up 21-7. But you got to give credit where credit's due. The Panthers, down by 2 scores on the road, against a team with offense really came alive in the second half, was somehow, some way figured out a way and to overcome that missed 2-point conversion, sitting on a 2-point lead.
Trips left. Stubendink out of the shotgun. Looking that way, steps up in the pocket, throws, and it is caught. But time has expired, and Stevens Point has defeated Hudson here tonight by a final score of a 23-21.